and hopefully we have the transcription as well. Great to see everybody. Thanks for coming. Uh, we don't have a big agenda today, but we're always really happy to hear what everybody's experiencing and what you are bringing or any concerns, that kind of thing. So we'll get going on that. Let's go ahead and go around the room and introduce right quick. Um, my name's Randy Fay. I'm one of the maintainers of DDEV, and I'm in Palisade, Colorado, in the U.S., where I stepped out the door to walk over here this morning to the coffee shop, and lo and behold, it was raining cats and dogs. So I turned around and drove. I, I was surprised. Mladen, you want to go ahead?
Sure. I'm Mladen from Novi Sad in Serbia. Long time Drupal enthusiast, now slowly shifting to, let's say, exploring JavaScript options. And I'm an avid user of DDEV, so I want to participate as much as I can.
We're very happy to have you here. That's great. Jen, you want to go ahead?
Sure, Jen Lampton, joining from Oakland, California. I am one of the co-founders of Backdrop CMS and longtime Drupal enthusiast as well, and I use DDEV daily.
And she's on the board of the DDEV Foundation,
Yeah.
and we're happy to have her. Matthew, go ahead.
Hey everybody, Matthew Saunders, also longtime Drupal guy, and I also use DDEV almost every day. I'm here to give any advice that I might have in the nonprofit space. I've got lots of experience running nonprofits, being on nonprofit boards, and so forth. And Randy and I have been friends probably for maybe as much as 20 years. And I looked out the door, Randy, and it's not raining cats and dogs here. We've got 6 inches of snow.
Oh my goodness. I heard you might get snow.
Yeah.
Open up the
Holy,
resorts. Get those ski
how
resorts
about
back
that?
open.
There we go. There we go. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, I lost my voice over the weekend and it's slowly coming back. So sorry about that. Anyway, Mike Anello, normally in Florida. I'm in Belgium right now. Um, what else were we supposed to say? I totally forgot.
You get,
I'm on the board as well. Um,
and he's
I
the
help out Randy
treasurer.
with the finances for the DDEV
Yeah,
Foundation. There you go.
very much appreciated. You know, when Nancy and I were writing, volunteering in Guatemala on our big uh, trip through the Americas, we got whooping cough, and I lost my voice completely for 1 month.
Oh, bye.
Could not vocalize anything. Was caught, that was the least of my problems. But a month is very inconvenient. So
This
go.
was
I
weird
hope.
because it was like a light switch. I woke up Saturday, I was fine Friday, woke up Saturday morning, didn't have it, felt fine otherwise. Like I have not slowed down a bit. I have a little bit of a sniffle, but
How
I meant,
about that? How about
yeah,
that?
it actually happened before on a hiking trip.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but whatever.
Andrew, go ahead.
Yes, hello. My name's Andrew Berry. I'm the VP of Technology at Lullabot. We've been doing work with Drupal and other things since the mid 2000s, and we use DDEV anywhere and everywhere. I'm in Guelph, Ontario, which is near Toronto in Canada.
Excellent. Stas.
Hi everybody, I'm Stas Zhuk from Kremenchuk, Ukraine. I'm a DDEV maintainer, and as always, I'm happy to see everyone here and want to hear what people think about DDEV and maybe learn something new. We learn every day in DDEV.
That's right. That's a beautiful thing. Truls, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Truls. Luckily, I have the possibility to have it sign language interpreter, so I don't have to use my voice like you have to. Uh, but I'm here based in Norway, and I have been a long time user of Drupal, and I'm very enthusiastic about that. And I'm a DDEV, no, a developer consultant at a company. And yeah, I work with frameworks and in regards to Drupal, WordPress, and yeah, a very broad spectrum actually. Yeah, so that was
We're
something about me.
glad to have you. Jonas, do you want to introduce yourself? Maybe you didn't hear me, but anyway, you're muted and video off. But Jonas, we're glad to have you here every time. So that's great. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda. Um, the we did release 1.25.2 and haven't really had much in the way of um, reports of anything on that. We're always uh, any release has some change that is an impact on people, and we're always wanting to hear about that and wanting to hear how we can make it better for people. Uh, had a number of improvements in there, including performance improvements and new tools and that sort of thing. I've been working again on coder.ddev.com. We have a staging version of it now, and I'm trying to make that even more useful for people. It's hard to tell, and I'd be interested to hear from you if you've tried it out on any of the mainline techniques. It's mostly set up for Drupal core development, and that's where the current deployed most of the work went in before DrupalCon to help people with Drupal core development. And so that's the most mature template. And now I've been trying to make the freeform one much more mature. But I'd be interested in what lots and lots of people have tried it, but I'd be interested in hearing from you whether you tried it and whether it had potential, that sort of thing. I know Mike and I are actually working on uh, a thing right now. He wants to do Drupal contrib modules, and we don't have a straight line way to do that yet. But I'd be interested in hearing from you about what you thought about Coder, its potential, that sort of thing.
I love it, but I think you already know that, so I don't know if I need to fill in the space in this meeting with me saying that more.
I thought you were just having trouble with it and not. So you've had
Well,
some
yeah,
good
but
experience.
I see its potential because it gives me the right amount of control that I want without giving me too much control and without, blocking me from doing things. It's easy to use, pops up a little browser window that looks like a terminal window. So, excuse me, if I could use it in the future for teaching, it's pretty sweet. So it's got a lot of potential. I guess maybe that's the best way of saying it.
It is an expansion of scope that is
Yep.
a little questionable, but we just lost so much when we lost the previous way of doing this, and having our own version under our own control is pretty cool. So
And
that's great.
I'll mention it here, even though I put it I don't know if I DM'd you or if I put it in the channel, Randy. Um, at Dev Days, I did talk to some folks in the AI initiative who were interested in it, um, and possibly interested in helping to fund DDEV through a hopefully a significant, well, I don't know how significant, but like a monthly donation, um, if it worked for their use cases, which is, you know, pretty much, testing AI related issues, AI module related issues. So I think there's an opportunity there, um, but I did want to, surface that again.
There's a lot of um, there's a lot of immaturity in the whole idea of coder, in that we don't currently control anything except that you have to have a GitHub account to use it. We do pay attention to creation of new workspaces, and shockingly, um, we haven't actually had anybody do Bitcoin mining or those kind of things on it at this point. That has to arrive. I don't know uh, why in the world it hasn't arrived. I mean, we've been up and public for a couple of months at least, maybe a little more, and I don't know why that hasn't arrived. And we'll have to figure that out. But one of the things we talked about with the board is about carrots for especially organizational uh, support. And Coder is a great one, and it's really easy for us to allow every member of a GitHub organization to have space on coder.ddev.com, even when we start to constrain new user creations there, which has to happen, right? So uh, having a way to say, hey, these are the things that you get when your organization does $100 a month is a great thing to be able to say to people and help them to get that step over to understanding why they should do it, even if they don't use it all the time. Now, I have used it for running Claude remote control in a coder instance. Um, Use tmux, run Claude in a remote control session, and then I can see what it's doing while I'm walking to the coffee shop. Um, it's uh, it's quite surprising the number of things you can do. I've also used it for DDEV development, so you can build and test DDEV on it. So it really is quite useful, especially when you don't have a predictable local environment. And I think that's where everybody sees the potential. Any other comments on Coder or thoughts? Jen, we'd love to get that going. Get it clear for you how to use it on Backdrop. You could do it right now without that much trouble, but
Have used
it'll need
Drupal.
a little bit of nudging.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
think I don't know if you have any sort of monitoring right now in terms of like actually active sessions or resources being used by user or by each session, but your example of using it with a long running agent feels like the sort of thing where, like, if this had been launched a couple of years ago, you might be able to support 30 real humans on something, some fixed set of hardware. But now that people are kicking off long running jobs, and if it's free, there's no incentive to be like, well, let's let it so this instance can go to sleep or whatever the resource sharing is on that. So if you have monitoring in place now, then that means if there is a spike, you have all the information to understand what's happening instead of just trying to go from a like, everything fell over and I can't get into the box or whatever's going on.
We do have quite a number of things. We monitor with our monitor.ddev.com Isinga instance. So we know when there are CPU problems, memory problems, disk problems, and we get notified. Um, uh, we also get notified when a new workspace is created or a new user is created. We get that in Discord. So it is more mature in that way than you might expect, but on the other hand, still inadequate for the kind of things that you're suggesting there, because the possibilities are enormous, and with people wanting to use a long-running AI agent or something, it's quite a lot of potential there. So, any other comments or comments on the latest release or any frictions that you've had? Um, Stas and I were on the Talking Drupal podcast a couple of weeks ago, and that was fun. If you get a chance to see that, I think a lot of people saw that and enjoyed it. And we talked about all the things there. Um, I will be out from about 2 weeks from now for about 3 weeks. Nancy and I are going to Italy for a self-guided bike trip in Sicily. So we'll be out for a while. So that was on the agenda. Um, our our financials are on the agenda page, which I think probably you were able to see there. But the bottom line is we have about $7,300 in the bank account. Both Stas and I have been paid our full discounted amount um, of the invoices we've submitted for the last few months, which is wonderful. And we are at about 79% of the goal that we have of getting to about um, $12,000 a month, which we think is a sustainable level. And the full reports are there for you. Um, that's what I have on the agenda. So at this point, it's what you have to say or think about, and we won't take up your whole day with the meeting.
I'm gonna ask a question, but I'm gonna put it in the chat just because my voice is
That's a
buffering.
good idea. Okay, so you're asking the DDEV share with Cloudflare D you mentioned. Um, one of the things that's on my agenda with DDEV share is for non-Drupal CMSs, the ones that tend to wire, or Drupal multi-sites have the same problem, where they tend to wire the URL or the host name directly into the code. I want to improve the documentation on that with Cloudflare because you can do some great things. So Mike's question is, do we have any idea of DDEV usage in Drupal communities in Asia? And the answer is yes, by time zone. So we do have a report on of DDEV by time zone. Let me get that for you while anybody else has any other questions, and I can get a link to the time zone thing. The only problem is that I may not know what all the names of the time zones are. I certainly know what CET is, and that's our biggest usage. So hang on just a second, and I'll get that. And if anybody has any other questions or things that we should explore, feel free to raise that. Users by time zone. There we go. And I can share that. here is the users by time zone here that you should be able to see. And unfortunately, I don't know the smaller time zones, what their names are, but we should be able to. ChatGPT could explain that to us very quickly. So Mike says the reason I asked is that might be an untapped resource for funding organizations in Asia and other places. I would be interested. It's an interesting conversation. I'd be interested why Asia or Asia and the Pacific would be more likely than the general world population. Obviously, the biggest time zones that we see there are the European ones and the American time zones, but it's always interesting. Might be a little more, well, who knows? Don't know. It's good thinking. Thanks for thinking. Okay, well, feel free to hang out. Happy to talk about anything with you, anything DDEV related, but we'll let you move on to your next meeting. And we sure appreciate you coming to this. Stas and I actually talked about it yesterday. We said, well, we don't have a lot to say, but it's good to, our decision was that we might as well keep the cadence and be predictable where we show up and give people a chance to provide their feedback and their where they're at and what they're thinking. So here we are, but we'll have a short meeting. So
Even connecting 15 to 20 minutes on a cadence is a really good idea. It just keeps people thinking about one another.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I would say that it's really important because that in a sort brings that the thing is alive, because when you start slipping, then there's a feeling that something is not going well, it's decaying, people are having some other things to do, and so this frequency is not too demanding to fulfill, and at the same time, it's always nice to see people who are behind it, like in face and hear the voice. I would just say one thing. I mean, we are all in a way, I think that I can say that reasonably that we are a bit concerned about Drupal's future. Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry if I'm overreaching, but that doesn't that actually doesn't matter. What I wanted to say is that DDEV is not a tool especially for Drupal or WordPress or anything typo or something, but it's actually a very handy tool for local development. And I've been experimenting with some JavaScript things and trying to work new options, sometimes as decoupled, which is the huge territory for Drupal. And recently, I've been trying to use DDEV for strictly JavaScript, React, Next, maybe adding super base container and something. I don't have at the moment. I don't have enough time to experiment, but I think that DDEV as community should bring that new branch, like not LAMP branch, but node branch to the table, and I think that that should be a way to keep being relevant and to keep being useful not only for the legacy things like Drupal and WordPress and PHP world, but also be open for a new world that really needs it more than they are mostly aware. I submitted the work, but they didn't accept it in today's not today on Saturday's WordPress Developer Days in Novi Sad, but it will be small event, and then they decided to go for other things, and I wanted to present the workflow with WordPress, DDEV, and why local development is important because of the AI usage, of course. And so I just to wrap it up, I just wanted to say that I think it's very important to support other environments as well.
But I posted a link there, but you'll note that several of the quick starts do focus on node usage, and DDEV has explicit node support in a couple of different ways. And I don't know if you've used that or not, but I hope you will, and make it better. I definitely agree that looking past PHP is important, and certainly looking past Drupal is important. I think that we might submit to the WordCamp US and WordCamp Canada this year for presentations and see if we can get those in. I haven't figured out in the past how to be able to contribute at a WordCamp, but with a contributor from Canada pointing out to me the two upcoming WordCamps, I'm going to go ahead and submit to those.
You might want to submit to Laracon as well, if you're up for the trip to Boston. I think it's in Boston this year.
Yeah, it's too late for the Laracon submissions, but and I did go last year, but I didn't figure out how to contribute, and I don't find any. It just doesn't go anywhere. If I can't figure out how to contribute at a conference, it's not worth the trip.
Got it.
But Laracon, I was very glad to get introduced to Laravel community at Laracon in Denver. And I would go if I can get a session accepted or something like that. So by the way, Andrew, on MakeDocs material, Stas already has a PR up for switching to a fork of all of the above.
Yeah, it's like not a long-term solution.
Mhm.
We just try to get rid of any warnings and have some supported software to run the documentation on. But I don't know yet where we are going with this.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you've already got something for it. Randy, what WordCamps in Canada are you going to?
Let me get you the scoop on that. That Pierre Paul was actually his suggestion was he's do Canada and I do the Phoenix one. The Canada one is in Vancouver in November. And let me get you the link here. If you were thinking about being involved in that, here's the Canada WordCamp. Pierre Paul he's just ready to submit. So I thought he and I could work on, well, I mean, it's his initiative. He pointed it out. He and I could work on an appropriate basic. Why would you use DDEV with with WordPress kind of thing? There's a lot of advantages to DDEV with WordPress because most of the existing solutions are WordPress specific, and almost everybody needs more flexibility than that. Even though the WordPress ones like local by it used to be local by Flywheel, but anyway, local. It's got a really fancy GUI, but its goal is to capture you as a hosting consumer, and it's WordPress only. And most professionals need more than a captured situation like that.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
I don't like about the local. I try to help a friend on Windows, and it was. It's not as good as DDEV. I mean, it uses the Windows something, and it has some specifics, and I don't see it as reflecting the actual server like the DDEV does, and that separation. And frankly, she had a problem because she wanted to have images on the other disk partition, but it was clogging the first partition, and moving the websites from one location to the other was a nightmare. And eventually, yeah, it does have the nice interface. Actually, it's good for the beginners,
Very, yeah.
but it wasn't too friendly on the resources, and I just didn't like the workflow. Maybe because I'm used to terminal, and I'm more skilled than her, but still, and that at the same time, that is maybe a good idea to think about some sort of the front end. Be it from the browser or standalone for maybe, but it's a huge undertaking. I'm aware of that.
Yeah, Laravel has kind of the same kind of class of problem, is that the local solutions there are very Laravel specific, and they change and don't get maintained and this and that, and some of them are commercial and that kind of thing. So I'm going to stop the recording. Everybody is